The julep cocktail is perfect to sip on a hot summer's day, but what actually is a julep? Keep watching and let's talk drinks. Hi guys, welcome back. So the julep cocktail it's a perfect drink for summertime, you know, to sit on your veranda or sit out in a courtyard, anything where it's nice and warm, a beautifully chilled, boozy cocktail. But what actually is a julep? Believe it or not, the julep was actually the first American cocktail to get international recognition. And although we think of bourbon when we think of a julep, they were originally made with peach brandies and cognacs. They're normally served over crushed ice in what's called a julep cup, and they normally also have some mint muddled in them. They were the perfect cocktail during hot American summers where they would drink it with crushed ice. The beauty of the julep too is they're super easy to make. So what I always do is I'll chill down my julep cup before I make my julep with a little bit of crushed ice. And the first ingredient that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make a mint julep first up, is about 6 to 7 mint leaves, which I'm just going to break up, add them to my julep cup. Next up, I'm going to use 15 mils or half an ounce of sugar syrup. Now this is just water and sugar, 50-50. Now back in the day, they would use granulated sugar and they would muddle it up. Yes, it is the traditional way to make it. However, I don't like the fact of having sort of those granules in the bottom of my drinks, so I think the sugar syrup's a lot easier. Next up, I'm going to just muddle that mint up as well. Now, if you had granulated sugar, it would bruise the mint and sort of crush it up a little bit better, but it's just as effective without the granulated sugar. This is about one of the only cocktails where I'll actually muddle mint. Because I really want to pulverize that up into tiny little pieces. Oh, it smells so good. All right, next up, really easy drink, as I said, is 60 mils or 2 ounces of bourbon. I'm going to use Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is a delicious bourbon. It's so popular here in Australia and a bit of a favorite here at the 18th Amendment Bar. Then some crushed ice. Try not to make too much of a mess here, but I really do want to put a fair bit of crushed ice in there. I'm then going to just get my straw, give it a bit of a stir, just to sort of incorporate all of that mint, the sugar syrup and the bourbon. As I said, it can be a bit of a messy drink to make, however it's totally worth it. You could use a bar spoon as well. All right, then I'm just going to give it just visually a little bit more crushed ice on top there. Get rid of some of this ice. Look at that. And for my garnish, just a sprig of mint. I like a really big sprig of mint, and I like to give it a bit of a spank. What that does is it bursts the little oil bubbles that are all around the mint, and it just releases those aromas. And that, guys, is a mint julep. All right, let's give that a try. Yeah. Bourbon and mint goes so well. If anything, I think that I probably put too much sugar syrup in there. I think that 10 mils or 1/3 of an ounce would have been a lot better, because it is a little bit sweet. However, as it dilutes down as you're drinking it with the crushed ice, I think it will definitely balance out a little bit more. Give it another go. Oh, you just smash those on a summer day, honestly. This is one of those drinks though that you do have to use a straw, okay? Because otherwise sort of trying to drink it through the crushed ice is really hard. Back in the day, they used to use a julep strainer. I don't have a julep strainer on me at the moment, but just picture using the julep strainer, and what they would do is they would put the strainer onto the glass, sort of like that, and sip through it. Kind of sounds a little bit weird, but the reason that they did that is a lot of the times back in the older days, in the 1800s and 1700s, what happened was people had really bad teeth, and when you have teeth that are sort of decaying and you put crushed ice onto them, it hurts like hell. So the julep strainer would actually be there to separate the ice from touching your teeth. But nowadays we can just use a metal straw. Use metal, guys, it's better for the environment. There's the mint julep. So the second julep that I'm going to make for you is called the rainbow julep. made exactly the same way as the mint julep. So the first thing I'm going to do is once again add about 6 to 7 leaves of mint. However, in this cocktail we're going to sub out the sugar syrup with some apricot brandy. So I'm going to do 15 mils of, this is the De Kuyper apricot brandy. You can use any type of apricot brandy or apricot liqueur. I'm going to give that another muddle. What I did this time is I added just a few little granules of that crushed ice. I don't know if you can hear that. It's actually really tearing up and ripping up that mint a lot better than I muddled before. Adds a tiny touch of dilution as well. All right, next up we're going to use 60 mils of bourbon, or 2 ounces. I wanted to use Knob Creek this time. It's 50% ABV. I really want that bourbon to stand through and punch me in the face a little bit more than the last one. And I think with the Knob Creek, it's a delicious bourbon. It's going to do the trick. Tell you what, just enough too. All right, 100 proof. Just going to add some ice to that. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use my bar spoon. So I'm just showing you a couple different ways to make the julep. For those of you that say, oh, you made it the wrong way. Just to show you, the end result will still be a delicious, tasty julep cocktail. So I'm really just getting that bourbon and that apricot brandy all up interacting with that crushed ice. Now, a really nice amount of crushed ice there. If you actually leave it for a while, it'll actually start freezing up the outside of that julep cup. A nice sprig of mint for that garnish. As I said, you want plenty of mint, so when you bring that drink up to your nose, you're going to inhale the aroma of the mint. It really does make the drink. All right, the rainbow julep. Let's see how this one goes. Okay, I like that better. That apricot brandy works really well with the Knob Creek bourbon. That higher proof coming through, I like that a lot better too. It's such a really delicious cocktail, honestly, and just so simple to make. That is actually starting to freeze my hand as I hold that. So that crushed ice is definitely starting to chill the outside of that cup. If you don't have a julep cup, you can use like a rocks glass or something like that. But if you can get out there and buy a julep cup, they are available online. Pretty simple to find, and they're definitely worth it. That rainbow julep is definitely a thumbs up for me. And last but not least, we're going to do the prescription julep. This recipe was found by Dave Wondridge. He's like the archaeologist of cocktails and the history of cocktails. And I think this is probably how the original juleps would have tasted back in the day. Once again, we're going to start with about 6 to 7 mint leaves. I'm going to add that to our julep cup. This will have 10 mils or 1/3 of an ounce of sugar syrup. And once again, going to give it a bit of a muddle there, just to release that mint and those aromas. All right, now 45 mils or 1.5 ounces of a cognac. I'm using the Courvoisier VSOP. Beautiful cognac as well. And to keep in theme for the whole video, I think everything that I've used in these videos so far is from Beam Suntory. I'm going to use 15 mils of rye. I'm going to use Knob Creek rye. Once again, 50% ABV, just to smack a bit of punch through, get a little bit of that spiciness into the cocktail as well. Now, I think that the cocktail was a lot easier before when I stirred up as I add the crushed ice to the cocktail. So I'm going to do that again. A lot less messy too. Seems to chill that glass down a hell of a lot quicker. All right, there we go. A nice little mound there. Once again, another piece of mint. Looks so good. All right, prescription julep. Let's give it a try. That is by far the most flavoursome for me. That cognac with that sweetness is coming through. Definitely 10 mils of sugar syrup, dropping it back that 5 mils, what I did in the first one, in the mint julep. The mint is working perfectly. By far for me, my favourite one so far. Give this a try, guys. It is delicious. I'm going to actually drink the rest of this. I haven't been drinking them all because I'm going to film probably about 15 videos today, so I'd hate to think what the videos are going to look like towards the end of today. But guys, I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea about what a julep is. Please like, subscribe. Do you have a julep recipe that you've tried that you'd like to pass on to me? I'd love to do a video of it because this is a great category, especially my friends over in America at the moment. Yeah, it's coming on to summer. It's getting very cold here in Australia, down in Geelong. And just a special shout out to my friends in the States as well. Bourbon with Friends podcast and Who Gives a Dram. Nice to meet you guys. Hopefully we're going to do a video together, maybe do a live tasting. Cheers, guys. See you soon.